Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Warren,
And this is Jay.
and we're going to sit here and talk a little bit about the playoffs, the games that we've already seen, the games upcoming, and let's talk about this Eagles Bucks game coming up. What's going on, everybody? So yeah, Jay. First off, how was your weekend?
My weekend was good. My weekend was good. I can't complain at all. Enjoy some of the football, and I definitely enjoyed what happened last night.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, that's man. We'll talk a little bit about it. But yeah, let's go on and get straight into it. We'll talk about the playoffs right now. Um, So this is what we're looking at with the playoff bracket. We've already seen the Chiefs and Dolphins game. Jay, what's your thoughts on that game?
That's a game that I fully expected the Chiefs to win. The Dolphins don't really play well in extremely cold weather. It's just a thing of them. I don't know if it's from because they're from Miami or it's just their curse because most teams play well in the cold, but Miami doesn't play well. So I that wasn't a surprise to me. I mean, the biggest surprise to me was the Browns. The Browns hanging up, letting the Texans hang up 45 on them. That was crazy to see. Number one defense getting 45 put on them in the playoffs is crazy.
Yeah, CJ Stroud making moves. That's always good. They definitely upset. Everybody was going for Joe Flacco and his experience. That doesn't mean nothing right now in the playoffs. So I'm glad that happened. Um, then we got the Lions and Rams game. What do you think about that game?
Well, that was a game of revenge and a game of teams playing former team, players playing their former team, and golf being traded for Stafford and everything. It was a very good game, very entertaining. Every game so far has been entertaining, but Detroit seems vulnerable to me still on defense. They as much as their offense can start clicking, they still seem vulnerable to me on defense. It's just there's certain plays here and there, you can make or break them on defense. To me, they just sometimes can't get a stop.
Yeah, most definitely. And kind of like you said, kind of like a revenge game. Golf proving himself and letting them know you lost something good. That was a real good game. Now, the biggest upset game of the entire weekend, the Cowboys and Green Bay. And before we talk about it, I just got to say this: we understand as Eagles fans the Eagles have dropped the ball multiple times when it comes to getting these wins and getting the division and just getting that number 2 seed. But for us to literally hand it to them, hand it to them,
We handed them the number 2 seed, and look what they did with it.
handed them home field advantage, and them to just blow it. That's that. Honestly, I feel like that is worse in
So,
totality of what we've been experiencing with
absolutely,
with the
Warren.
Eagles. It's
Absolutely,
like
I agree with
that's
you.
that has to be worse. So yeah, it is what it is, but that's the playoff picture. And me and Jay were still trying to discuss this, but we're actually going to wait till these games end tonight so we can actually see who's going to be playing who. But the
Mhm.
only game that's in the books right now is the Green Bay and the 49ers. That's the only one that's listed right now. But as we go into that, we'll go into the injury report. Uh, Sidney Brown, we all know had his ACL tear. He's going to be out for at least the next few months. Like he'll probably come back if anything in the middle of next season.
Yeah, mid-season.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts finger injury. He was a full participant in practice. Uh, we also had Darius Slay with the knee, but he was a full participant. Um, and then we got Reed Blankenship. Actually, he was injured. He was a full participant. But AJ Brown, his injury, he tried to stretch it out till to at least be able to play. They said, "Hey, let's take this on. We'll take this game. Just be ready for the next one." I like that way of thinking, just because the team is confident in what they're capable of doing. So, letting him rest, heal up, and be 100% for this next game, if possible, is a good idea. What are your thoughts on this,
Yeah,
Jay?
it's sad that we even have to discuss these injuries because they could have been avoided if the Eagles would have just, the way they were playing, they should have just conceded that Week 18 game of the Giants and just played the second string and just let the Cowboys try to handle the Commanders and because look, we look at the amount of injuries we sustained. Even Cam Jurgens got injured. The amount of injuries we sustained in basically a meaningless game. We've been playing terrible. Why not take a week to reset and do a little fake bye week and just get the guys ready and then look where we're at. So, like I said, I've been not optimistic about this team, very pessimistic, but I'm trying to be optimistic now with everything that's been going on in the playoffs. Like I said, I'm just seeing if maybe they flick a switch. I'm hoping something goes on tonight where they just sense of urgency. And I just go back to Fletcher Cox's comments last week when he said that
Mm,
they've just been dying to get to the playoffs. They just been dying to get here, and it's like they want to make that run. So it's like I'm hoping what he's saying is true, and they got a little lazy at the end of the season and just was trying to get back in the playoffs. But them giving away the number 2 seed and then Dallas just handing it away it actually helps the Eagles now because we got Dallas out of the way now. We don't have to deal with them for the playoffs, and also it opens up a situation where if the Eagles win next week and Green Bay could triumph the 49ers, and we spoke about this earlier, Warren,
yeah,
Green Bay would play the Eagles in the NFC Championship game at the Link.
yeah. No, it's kind of all playing out for us, and I think, like I said, I personally think that what the Dallas Cowboys went through is worse than what we've been going through these last 6 weeks, I would
Six
say.
weeks.
Um, and I think with that being said too, anything can happen. It doesn't matter what you did in the regular season. Um, we understand that our defense is not top caliber right now. We understand that.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Hell, they understand that. So right now it's just a will of who just wants it more, honestly. And I know another thing we mentioned too, Jay, is even though we have had not the best regular season games, what Howie Roseman and the Eagles just organization as a whole made sure that they brought in caliber championship pedigree players. You got Georgia, you got Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Kelsey Lane. They've all been in these situations before. I actually think they were in a worse situation back when Foles was injured because we really didn't know what to expect.
Mhm.
We didn't lose our quarterback in this situation. Um, I think with that, hopefully that kind of brings out that fight mentality that they have to where they just ain't gonna lay down and just take an L. Um, that's the hopes and the optimism that I have coming into this. But I want to get your opinion on it, Jay, because I think me and you were a little bit on the opposite side last time we were on here. What do you think so far after getting all the news and all the games that have been played?
I've been, I'm like I said, I'm trying to be optimistic about the team, and I'm trying to find where the beginning of the season they eked out victories, but that also shows continuity and grit. Even though maybe the play calling was bad and coaching wasn't the best, talent
Mm-hmm.
overcame all of that in the beginning of the year, and then everything just started falling apart. But now, like I said, with the Cowboys losing yesterday, and that was the Eagles seed, the number 2 seed, they gotta feel some type of extra motivation by seeing Dallas just give it that away, and they don't want to be one and done, and the fans don't want to see one and done. If the Eagles were to lose tonight, it's not like we would be surprised.
Yeah,
We'll be surprised if they blow the top off of Tampa Bay. No, we're not expecting that. So I'm hoping tonight they flick a switch and turn it on. Um, Players, maybe like Fletcher said, they just got tired and want to go make a run. So let's just
yeah,
see. Let's just see. I'm being optimistic now with the Dallas loss yesterday, and I feel like that even should ignite them even more.
yeah. And shout out to Vincent in the
What's up,
comments right
Vincent?
there. We appreciate you watching us and checking us out. Feel free to let us know any thoughts that you have in the
Whenever
comments.
you want to
And
join too, Vincent, we
yeah,
always appreciate your knowledge, your
exactly.
expertise, everything, my brother.
So with this game too, with the Bucks playing the Eagles, it's a Monday night game actually. The Eagles have that extra day of rest, so do the Bucks. Baker Mayfield is still he only was a he wasn't a full participant in practice Saturday. He was limited practice. Um, I think our defense has to win this game. This is a defensive game. Uh, whether you like Jalen Hurts or not, whether you like Brian Johnson or not, the offense has technically kind of carried this team to where they are. They've carried them, whether negative or positive. They carried the team because the defense has dropped the ball so many times, let so many plays slip by them, and Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, all these boys have came back and made it an actual fight. So I think right now is the defensive time to kind of step up and let's see what they can do. Um, how are your feelings on that? And where do you feel like the position? What area on defense do you feel like could potentially surprise you?
With Slay being back, I think the fans that were complaining Slay is old, Slay is this, look at what it's been without Slay. It's been
Mm-hmm.
worse than before that. So I think him coming back is definitely gonna be key. Getting Ringo in there while he's in there is gonna be key. Maddox is moving to safety today. So it's just a lot of things are going on. Maybe Patricia sees something in the defense that he could use to his strengths. But the Eagles switch defenses basically at the end of the season, and that's a tough task. They're not the same type of coach, so they're gonna be have different styles and different. Everything's gonna be different. So it's just to see them go through these growing pains when we should be basically already in full season form is a little concerning. But like you said, the defense has to step up at some point. You got to win a game at some point. You got dogs on defense. You still got Jalen Carter. You still got Hassan Reddick. So you still got people that can make a big, big impact on the game. So I'm expecting that somebody steps up today. My guess on defense, I could see Hassan Reddick going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Because I see him hustling all the time. I could see him going to work, especially early and late. He starts off fast, he ends fast also too. So I could see him going to work. And that interior line, man, where are the sacks, man? Where are the sacks? Where the pressures are there, but where are the sacks? It's like you're not hitting home ever.
Yeah, and the Bucks struggled against the Panthers last week. They did not they did not get an easy victory off that game,
Mm-hmm.
so they definitely struggled. And I know there's a lot of injuries on that side too. Um, I think the defense is gonna fight this game. I think it's gonna be a very I'm not gonna say a blowout, but I think it's gonna be a very competitive game. And the defense knows they've been lacking. Everybody knows the defense has been lacking. I think I'm excited to see Maddox back in. Like now that he has his feet wet now, with Slade back there, with as much as we Shaq Leonard, like having Shaq Leonard in there, just
He's
having
coming
all these
along
guys
too.
in.
He hasn't been
Yeah,
perfect, but I believe Shaq Leonard is coming along. I think that,
and
as a veteran.
when has Shaq Leonard been in the playoffs in the past?
To be honest with you, I believe Indianapolis has made the playoffs a couple times in the past, but that I can't.
Okay,
I can't. I'm pretty sure he's played a playoff game.
yeah. So like this is the reason why Shaq Leonard came. This is the reason why why Bayard even came.
Yeah,
Like because they know they're gonna be in this situation by now.
yeah.
So I think that's a big thing right now is we're gonna see some of these players kind of put it all on the field. I would like to
Quez
see that.
Watkins, I gotta see Quez Watkins. Opportunities open for him. That he dropped that near touchdown last week in the end zone deep pass. It's just he gets opportunities. He just got to make the most of them, like because he gets opportunities. You're getting the ball thrown to
Hmm.
your way. Sometimes you just got to catch it, man.
What about Zacchaeus? How do you feel about Zacchaeus though?
Zacchaeus, I'm all on the Zacchaeus train, but they don't play Zacchaeus as much, so we have to put some stock into Quez Watkins because he's out there more. But I would play Zacchaeus over Quez. There's a reason
Yeah,
why. There's a reason why they don't. That's up to them. But from the eye test to me as a fan, Zacchaeus has made some plays.
yeah,
Zacchaeus made that catch versus Buffalo. That's still to this day one of my favorite touchdowns of the season.
yeah. If I'm going into this game knowing AJ Brown is out, but Devontae Smith is in, it's going to be a lot harder for the Bucks to see who's going to be their main ball guy. We all know Devontae Smith. They're a smart team.
Yeah.
They know Devontae Smith is going to get the ball, but we got Zacchaeus, Julio, and Quez,
And
and
Goddard is a
and
factor too.
Goddard. And
Goddard
you
is going
can't
to get
sleep
his
on
target.
Covey either.
And
Covey can come out there too.
Jalen sometimes does hit running back. He can hit Swift out of the back. But I believe, to me, on offense though, Swift is the guy today. Look out for
Yes,
DeAndre Swift today, because today DeAndre Swift is due. He's due. This
his
is why
birthday
he
was
came.
yesterday as
This
well.
is exactly happy birthday to him. But this is why he came to Philly. Hometown
Hmm.
kid. He wants to rewrite some stories out there. He wants to be on the back cover of the paper and front cover of the paper. So I could see him going off today. Like, I could see them using him in the passing game, them using him in the running game. I could just see him going off and having a great day today.
Yeah, that's a great point. Swift can just come out there and just
Kenny
take
G,
off.
man, Kenny G showed up in the playoffs last year.
Kenny G did show off in the playoffs.
He showed up when
Um,
they were calling his number, and that's what gave us confidence that this guy maybe next year is going to be okay. This season they haven't utilized him as much, but Kenny G is a great change of pace back and definitely a good pass catcher out of the backfield.
let me take you back for a second, real quick, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
Let me take you back to last year's playoffs.
Yeah,
The Eagles, of course, had that 1 week break. When they came out in the postseason, they honestly looked like a totally different team coming out of the post, like in the postseason. They look like a totally different team than what they were in the regular season. Even though they were good, we all saw they had tiny flaws last year, but not major flaws like this year. But do you see this team on almost just in a whole different mode just with postseason coming in, or do you think it's going to be the same as the regular season? All games that we've seen so far has shown us that these teams are not performing like they did in the regular
during the
season.
season. Okay, look, I'm gonna put it like this: the Browns are the number one defense and got 45 points hung up on them.
Mm-hmm.
The Dolphins were the number one offense and gave up. I mean, I'm sorry, only scored 7 points. You understand what I'm trying to say? Dallas was the number two seed and a big favor going into this game, ends up getting smoked. You understand? So, like I said earlier, what makes you think that the Eagles can't just hit another gear? I know it's been dysfunctional, but there's a Super Bowl ring on the line here. There's a path you got to take to get there, and it starts tonight. Like, no
The
matter what happened
expectations
earlier,
low too.
as much as it starts in September, it really starts tonight if you get there, because you
Yeah.
can't talk about it or be about it if you're not there. So the Eagles are there, the opportunity is there. Um, I'm hoping to hit another gear. Like you said earlier, there's championship caliber type players on this team on the collegiate level and on the NFL level. Last year, even though they didn't win, they were there. They've been there. They were there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of this roster was there. These coaches been there. So, I'm just hoping tonight they just throw it in overdrive and just really have a game. Because even look at the Chiefs. The Chiefs haven't been playing their greatest, and they trampled the Dolphins. They trampled
And
the
with
Dolphins
weather conditions, with
with
weather
weather conditions.
conditions.
So the Eagles are going to
Mm-hmm.
be playing on the road, which to me is okay. I'm okay with
Yeah.
them on the road. I've been okay with them on the road. I've been okay with the Eagles on the road because they haven't been like a Dallas type of team on the road with a negative record.
Yeah. So I I'm hoping for a good game where the Eagles win at the end. Uh, you made a real good point there with Swift. This can be a Swift straight run game. It can be a straight run game. Um, the whole goal is, do they want to do that?
Also, Warren, what plays do the Eagles have up their sleeve? Because the Eagles have displayed a number of plays. As much as their creativity has been down, the fake brotherly shoves and the couple of plays, they got something tucked away. I don't know if they'll pull
Yeah.
them all out now, but we're just hoping another year gets hit and another page of the playbook arises because the time is now. The time is now. Sirianni, is he coaching for his job? Is he? What? Do you think he's coaching for his job? Because it's hard to say,
um,
as much as we want to support the guy, is he coaching for his job? Because listen, Doug
I
Peterson got
think
fired when it
I
got
think he
cloudy.
is coaching for his job.
Yeah, because
I think he's coaching with a purpose right now, and this purpose is gonna be the decision whether you need to get a U-Haul truck after the game scheduled, or it's, hey, we got to worry about the next team we got to play next week. So that's two different scenarios. I think he is coaching for his job. Me personally, let's say we even go to the divisional, like the division championship, NFC championship. I would still like to see another head coach. A lot of people may think that's not right. Why do you think that? But at the end of the day, you got to look at it like this: we're we're still predictable. We're still predictable. Now, unless they come up with some new plays that we haven't seen before to where nobody can tell what we're doing, that'll be a different story. He'll look like a genius. Nick Sirianni is either going to look like a genius or he's going to look like he just doesn't know what he's doing.
yeah,
It's
they got to
it's one
switch
of
it
the
up.
two.
Yeah,
It's one of the two.
yeah, yeah. But you know what, Warren? I would want to give Sirianni one more year with experienced coordinators and see if he could make a difference with somebody who knows more than him on the offensive side. But who knows if his ego would allow that? Like, who knows how high this guy's ego is? If he wants a guy, with a decorative, pass or resume aside of him, but with a lower role. So I would like to give him one more year, but like I said earlier, if Doug Peterson got fired when it got cloudy in Philly, Nick Sirianni could get fired also. That's not off the table. And I really truly feel like that. And I'm not saying that because I want him to get fired. I'm just saying that because it's reality.
Let me pitch this to you though. Um, he's the offensive. He's an offensive coach, right?
Yeah, offensive minded coach.
When these coaches are having hardships on the during the season, at least something is intact. You know what I mean? So like whatever they're good, whatever if they're a defensive or offensive coach, usually that offense is still somewhat intact.
Yeah.
The issue is the defense is not good, but the offense is not fully intact yet.
So it's
So
double
I
whammy.
think, yeah, so that's where I feel like that's where the issue is. The fact that the offense is not intact the way it should be, that is one of the things that you got to question. What is he doing to change things up? They're calling the same plays. We're literally a joke right now that we're running high school type plays.
Yeah, but
Like
not getting Jalen on this. There's not enough offensive formations for me that they like. Where's Jalen on the center? Where's the play action? The RPOs have disappeared. The things that made us so that would have like the RPO is what had the 49ers on their heels last NFC Championship game. That's why Fred Warner was hesitant. That's why even on defense they could not have an answer for Philly, and they still put up 31, regardless of Brock playing or not.
that was just Shane Steichen move though. If
Yeah,
you
that was
really
all.
think about it, that was Shane
That
Steichen.
was, it was, that was. And
Um,
the screens, look, listen, the screens that the Eagles used to run were working. The
mhm.
Goddard screens were working. This screen game this year has been terrible and just terrible this year. The screen game has been one of the worst things ever. The bubble screens and the screens on third and short, and it's just ridiculous some of the calls that they've called.
That was one of the qualities though about Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders had a good block game. He could block. He was a running back that was capable of blocking. Kenny Gainwell is also a running back that's capable of blocking. Swift can block to a certain extent, but I think that's why Rashad Penny is not out there as much because Rashad Penny cannot block,
That's
and
why
that's
that's the
that's where the
liability.
downfall is. And I'm pretty sure their running back committee, why are you going to put this running back out there that can't block, but he's getting all the reps? You should earn your rushing attempts.
That's true.
You earn your rushing attempts, and I think
Absolutely.
Penny's not earning them. So why do we need to give him the ball if he can't even block for the quarterback?
That's absolutely right.
So like you said, you made a really good point, and I think this can be a straight run game. It can be a
Yeah,
straight run game.
yeah.
We can see a full on game to where Jalen doesn't even rush. He's really just handing it to Swift, handing it to Kenny, Scott. Like he can just be doing
Different
that
run
all
blocking
game.
schemes. Listen, we don't know his finger's definitely not 100. It's definitely not 100. Who knows what percentage it's at, but it's not 100. So I could see them working a lot on the run game, a lot of quick. I just want to see something different today. Like a different type of win. At the beginning of the season, we were getting all these crazy wins, one score wins. Comeback, 10 points down a half. Where's the domination? Like, are we gonna go the whole season without having one game of like pure domination? In last game versus the Bucks, we beat them handily, but it's not like we fully dominated them. They were in that game just by a handful of plays.
I want to
Handful
say
of
we
plays.
beat them 25-11. Yeah.
25-11 was the score. 25-11, and it seems like we beat them bad, but it wasn't really that. They went for it on fourth a couple of times, had a couple of drops, but Evans was making some plays in the second half of that game that almost put them back right in it.
Yeah.
We
You got
should
to
have had
think
40
about
that
this
game. We
too.
had 25.
We could have blown them out that game,
Yeah,
but this
and
is the
they
thing
didn't.
though. We played them at a time that we were good. We were okay. That is a time that we were okay, and we were still trying to find ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We're now at a situation where our backs are up against the wall.
It's a different
And now
situation.
it's a different situation, a totally different scenario, a different mentality. I feel like we're hungry. They have to be hungrier now than they
Listen,
were.
hungry dogs run faster, like Jason Kelsey said. How hungry are they, Warren? We're gonna see tonight.
And I want us to end off on a good stretch. Jason Kelsey earns it. Like he deserves that. Like
Yeah.
we can't just go one and done. So but I'm hoping for a great game. Um, and the momentum is kind of going to build for us as fans because we get two games on Monday. We get two games on Monday, so
Yep. We get the
momentum's going to
Bills.
build.
Yep. And I got some family, like I always say in Buffalo. My nephew's a big Buffalo fan, so I'll be in contact with him, FaceTime with him, and my son will be watching the game with me. We'll be watching and checking in on everything.
Yeah.
And for
So
the birds later.
before we get off of this and move forward, what is your playoff scenario? Like what is Jay's ideal playoff scenario moving into this?
Like if you think like of what I mean, like realistically speaking, and what also being a little biased, of course, to the birds, I'm not gonna lie to you. If the Eagles can catch some type of spark, there's nothing that tells me they can't beat the Lions, and especially if they
Mm-hmm.
can beat this game and then get AJ back for the next week. Then there's nothing that tells me they can't beat the Lions. The problem is either if you get to the NFC Championship game, if you beat these guys, you would play either 49ers or a hot Green Bay team, so that it just either way the NFC is not going to be easy to get out of. On the AFC side, I think Buffalo's going to handle the Steelers.
Okay.
And I think then if the Buffalo handles the Steelers, then that means that the Texans would go to the Ravens, and I believe it would be the Kansas City. Yeah, Kansas City would go to Buffalo.
Correct.
Kansas City will go to Buffalo, and that would be an amazing game for NFL fans. It's a matchup, a matchup, but this time in Buffalo. Mahomes on the road, never played a road playoff game, so that would be super anticipated. So that's cool too. So I think that's what's gonna happen. I think the Texans gonna end up playing the Ravens. Will C.J. Stroud luck run out versus the number one seed Ravens in that defense? I don't know, but that's gonna be another classic game in the making. These games are all set up to be classic games.
Yeah. I'm looking at it as Green Bay. Let's get this straight. There's film on the 49ers now. If you like the way that Matt LaFleur studied the Cowboys and
Yeah,
blew them out that way,
yeah.
you seriously think that he does not have film and he's not studying the 49ers like that?
Of
Just
course,
in
of
case?
course. I really think that what the Green Bay did is just outsmarted that. I think they thought Dallas was just, they Dallas looks like they underestimated Green Bay to me more than
Yeah.
Green Bay preparing for Dallas because man, The Lions average. I'm sorry, not the Lions. The Packers averaged 9.5 yards on first down. That's some studying, bro. Every first down they were getting almost 10 yards. Like, and nothing could stop. Nothing could stop them yesterday. So kudos to them.
Yeah, and one thing that people were talking about is the Green Bay secondary studied Dak Prescott's habits. They studied how he moves on certain plays, how he reacts on certain plays. One thing that we all didn't notice that the Green Bay exposed is for every play they have the player who they're throwing it to.
They,
That's
they
why so many interceptions were given up that game.
Yep, and they were taking away his first read. They were mentioning that in the commentary when they were doing the all 22. They're taking away his first read, and Dak is not a terrible quarterback, but I don't think he's as his numbers may show you that he's like an MVP kind of player. But to me, he's just, he's a little bit above average. But when you take away his first read and you got to make him run around, if his guys is not improvising, he can't make those tight window throws. He made that good throw to Ferguson over the middle where he threw it up the ladder. He does that to Ferguson a lot because of his height. But if you take away Dak's first read and make him move around and figure things out, things get real cloudy, man.
But also, Dak is an empty calorie quarterback. And when I mean empty calories, I'm saying he got 400 yards this game.
Yeah,
He
he
threw for
did.
400
He did.
yards. Like if
Mostly
you're
in the
betting,
second
you're
half.
making your money off that. You're
Mm-hmm.
making your money off of him. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, you're not getting a win out of it.
Mm-hmm. I tell you, the numbers look good. It looks sexy. It looks attractive. But when it comes down, the lights are too bright for him. I truly believe he needs a change of scenery. Like, I really do think that Dak needs to leave Dallas and go somewhere else, and I think take less pressure, and I think he would be better off career-wise. And I really, really, really think that, honestly, because it's just not working anymore over there for him. But you know what? As long as it's not working over there, it works for Philly.
Yeah, and speaking of change of scenery, that kind of brings us into our next topic. Now, let's say the Eagles do lose, or let's just say they go to the next round, but Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie decide, hey, Nick, we appreciate everything you've done. We appreciate what you did for this city, for this team, but we want to move forward and we want to look another direction. Who do you think would be the ideal head coach for the Eagles?
I definitely think they would have to go offensive minded coach. They would definitely not be able to deal with a defensive minded coach. We don't want to hinder Jalen. You know what? Hold on. I want to pay attention to this. Pay attention to the color of the Super Bowl. Pay attention to the color of the Super Bowl colors. On the trophy, they are already giving you a hint of who's going to the Super Bowl. How do the NFL have the colors already picked out? Make it make sense. Listen, that theory is very scary when you really think about it. And I keep telling myself, if it ends up Ravens and 49ers, like, how do you look at the NFL moving forward? Because it is weird how the color scheme in the last, I don't know, what is it, 5 Super Bowls have ended up, the teams. I just hope it's a coincidence. I hope it's not that, and if it's not rigged, let's just hope Philly gets there.
But I look at it like this too. When people are saying that it's scripted and it's set up this way,
can't be.
We got to think about it on so many aspects of the referees know this, the coaches know this,
Yeah.
the players know this, and I don't feel like I wouldn't pay somebody over $1 million to play on my team for them to know that they're gonna lose. You get what I mean?
But some people play the game to win. Not everybody's
Yeah,
passionate for winning, but the majority of players and athletes really truly want to win and get that exhilaration. But you do got guys in all sports that are there for just their check.
yeah, and I don't think it's set up that way. I think it can be altered. I think it can definitely be altered.
Oh, I do think referees do alter games and let personal. I do definitely think that's one thing that I will stand by. I don't ever blame refs, but you can't tell me that the refs haven't blown game. They blew the
Well, the
Lions game
biggest the
the other
biggest
day.
mistake was that Cowboys Lions game.
Yeah, they
That was
just
the
blew that
biggest
one the
mistake
other day, and
ever.
I'm glad so many people agree because finally, Warren, like, it happened in a big time moment.
Yeah, and you want to know what's crazy about that game?
Hmm?
Think about this scenario: Saturday, The only game that's playing, only game playing right now. We've only seen a halftime show this year with the Cowboys, and Dolly Parton was up there. Um, it's just very interesting to me that with it being a Saturday night game, they bring they induct what's I can't think of his Jimmy Johnson
Yep.
into the Ring of Honor. They literally said we want everybody to watch this. What do you think that game would have ended with an L after doing all that? After doing all that, all the statements
Mhm.
that Jimmy Johnson made, all that energy in the just giving off on the TV screen, it would look silly of them to lose that game.
It would look silly, but you know what? In part, they inducted Jimmy because a lot of fans say that the curse on them with the Super Bowl is because Jimmy hasn't been in the Ring of Honor.
It's a
So their
Jerry
whole
Jones curse.
so their whole exactly so their whole thing was if he gets in the Ring of Honor, we're gonna get to the Super Bowl. Our curse is gonna be lifted, and it looks like he even blessed them with extra icing for an even earlier exit than we expected. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, Green Bay was playing hot, and going into the game, everybody knows Dallas doesn't have a good history recently versus Green Bay in the playoffs,
Mhm.
and everything was lining up for an upset. But you still thought Dallas averaging 37 at home, they're not going to bend and fold on this one. They're going to at least get it done and get to the second round and possibly lose in the second round, the round that they cannot seem to get past since 1995. They haven't been to the NFC Championship game, but their curse lives on. And as much as they want to clown us Eagle fans and say we went 63 years without a Super Bowl or whatever, listen, man, y'all have had almost 3 decades on your way to no Super Bowl, halfway on the same drought the Eagles was on, and it's gonna continue. It's gonna continue. The Cowboys just always do this. As bad as and what you made a good point earlier. You said this what happened to the Cowboys is worse than what's happened to the Eagles the last 6 weeks, and you damn right. Because at least the Eagles, we know that internally they're going through some type of family type of issue. Personally, the Cowboys was look like everything's all good. Then you saw CD arguing a little with Dak. You saw a little miscommunication. You saw him try to force it to CD and then throw a pick. So it was good to see that them go through adversity as opposed to us just dealing with it. And they were supposed to win big, and they blew it. They blew it,
Yeah,
bro. They had home field advantage over everybody but the 49ers, and they blew it.
yeah. And we gotta look at it like this too. The Cowboys haven't really been playing that good. They've played the
All right.
exact same way that we have. It's just ours are week to week to week. Theirs have
Mm-hmm.
been spread out. Let's
Absolutely.
take the Arizona game. We lost to Arizona. They lost to Arizona. Uh, let's take the hell. Let's take the Dolphins game. We beat the Dolphins. They couldn't beat the Dolphins. We beat the Bills. They couldn't beat the Bills.
Yeah, common
Um,
opponents. We beat them. That's why we ended tied. We would have been good. We would have been good. But like again, like I said, let's see what the story has, what God has written out for these Eagles, man. Because it would be on brand for them to go out and lose today as far as how they've been playing lately. But they also would be nice to see them flick the switch on and just turn it up today for the
the
city.
expectation is so low.
It's so low for you guys right now that it's like there's no pressure. You guys are, even though you guys are the favorite, as us Eagle fans, you guys are the underdog right now because we're not expecting much. I'm trying to go out there and think maybe that Dallas loss yesterday is gonna light you guys up because you should have been playing yesterday at that time slot.
Do
That
you
should have
feel
been
like
up.
we could have? Do you feel like if they win this game against Tampa, they can take it?
I feel like if they get hot, like tonight, if it starts tonight with no AJ and they get hot and then they get AJ back, I feel like they can go on. They can definitely go on a run. This team, one of
Okay.
the, they won games this season. At the end of the day, they have Jalen Hurts. At the end of the day, he's been there. He's a winner. Even though he's lost 5 out of 6 and it's never happened to him in his professional career, he's a winner. To
Yeah.
me, he finds ways to win. His defense has let him down. He hasn't been playing the best right now down the stretch. I feel like a lot of his interceptions, a couple of his interceptions have been spectacular plays. I'm talking about like plays that just don't happen often. So a lot of his turnovers come from tip passes, miscommunication. Look at every single pick, and I'm gonna do a video. I plan on this, Warren. I didn't even get to tell you this. I'll tell you now. I plan on doing a video at the end of the season on every interception that he threw and how it affected him moving forward. Because, bro, and not every pick is on him, and that's on every quarterback. A lot of
Oh
his
yeah.
turnovers not on him. So it looks like he's been turning the ball over at alarming rate, and it is. But when you look at all the accountability and you take it all in, a lot of other things factor in.
Yeah, no, most definitely, and I appreciate that comment that was given to us. Uh, we're very heavy on that way that prediction of the Super Bowl trophy, but like we kind of were talking about the coaching. Who do you feel would be the right
Oh
coach
yeah,
for
I'm sorry.
us?
Yeah, I got away from the question. I think I know who I would like somebody offensive like Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy. I would like somebody like him with a creative. I think if Jalen could get with a guy like that, I think magic can happen.
Okay, and you're
And I
saying
think he
that
deserves a head
You're
coaching
saying
job.
that I think that would be good for the accountability piece that
Hmm.
is needed. Um,
The
I agree
Commanders
with
will
you.
make them their head coach though.
Um, I'm thinking Drabel with the Titans head coach,
Yep.
and I'm looking at it like this. So they had a different GM at the time. We made the move and brought in AJ Brown.
Hmm.
He did not want to lose AJ Brown. Uh, we made the move and we picked up Bayard, and he technically didn't really want to lose him either.
Hmm.
With him now open to talking to other teams, Derrick Henry now not like already like giving away his farewell speech to everybody. What makes you think that he can't come to the Eagles, have a conversation with Derrick Henry? Derrick Henry can come on a team friendly somewhat deal
That's true.
and make this team what he wanted it to be with the Titans.
You know what, Warren? That's a very good take, bro. And I didn't even think about Vrabel. Like I looked at him, but he's a defensive-minded coach, so I didn't really think of that. But he is from the Belichick coaching tree, and I think he could have done more in Tennessee, but the management wasn't letting him have enough say. He was a player. I believe a player as a coach is always great. He's a former player as far as even recently. He didn't play not too long ago, so I think that would be good, but. I don't want to put too much thought into what if because the Eagles still got a job to do, and Nick
Oh
Sirianni
yeah,
still has.
yeah, yeah, most definitely.
But that would be an amazing scenario to even just to get Derrick Henry in the building next season would be an amazing scenario.
Because we will
Because
lose Swift whether we win or not.
yeah, because Swift is gonna get if Swift starts going off in these playoffs, Mitch match with his 1,000-yard season, he's gonna get way bigger offers than we're gonna be able to give him. So
Hmm.
that's why we got to go get it.
Yeah. So like I said, it's only a what if scenario, but and we're only giving out this conversation because based off of the production we've seen the last 6 weeks.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, so like I said, this can all turn around. We've seen it in the playoffs, but I'm excited about this game. I'm hyped. I want to see a W in Tampa. I got a few friends that are Bucks fans, so I'm texting them back and forth already
I got one.
talking smack right now. So but yeah, before we get up out of here, Jay, is there anything you wanna mention or kind of leave on the table?
No, I just want to say one thing I didn't get to mention. I want to congratulate the Lions actually on their first playoff victory since 1991. That was actually pretty cool to see in the fans, and that was amazing to see. I have a friend who's in Michigan also too, and he told me his city is turned up yesterday, and it's just cool to see that for that city, and you know how much it means to the fans, most importantly.
Yeah, most definitely. I want to put this out there, and I think it's a good thing about that makes the Eagle fan base one of the best fan bases. If we don't like what we see, we call it out.
Hmm.
If we're not we're not a content fan base. We're not content with just the way things are. We expect high of what we want from our players because we know we've seen our players perform at their best.
Hmm.
With that being said, there's a lot of other fans out there on other teams that didn't expect losses like the ones that they got,
That's for sure.
and they're upset. So always remember our voices are heard by our team. So
Mhm.
just always remember that, but we can't get crazy with it. Um, I think we can't push the envelope and we can't cross that fence with the players too. But we got to understand we have a voice with the team that we have right now. We just can't push that limit. Just don't want to push that limit because they're humans too. That's one
Absolutely.
thing that I want to mention out. But but yeah, we about to get up out of here. We got the Bills Steelers at 3 o'clock on my end, and then we got the Eagles Bucks at 7 on my end. This is Warren,
This is Jay.
and we the Eagles Collective. We appreciate y'all, and we'll be talking to y'all next week.